Alright, Section 9, Lubrication Care of Waste Pack Journals, Hot Boxes. Serious delay with the railroad transportation members over the failure with the car journal bearing the most of the frequent cover the bearing failure with the addition of the known hot box, which is defined with a unusual extreme increase bearing temperature sufficient to cover the failure with the unless to give it the proper attention. The hot box with the usually cover the improper function with the bearing lubrication, the proper selection of lubrication packing material with the improper application are best insured against breakdown. 71, material lubricant prescribed with the journal box of the oil, lubricating car, locomotive engine prescribed products, symbol OC. If the oil with the specification not available, the recommendation authorized officer of the will be filed. Lubricant is supplied with the journal by means of the waste of the saturated oil packed into the box, along with a small except the oil with the oil soaked by the waste of the transfer of the journal by wick or capillary action. Selection of the suitable waste is important. The waste will be new, renovated with a high quality, free with the dirt and line of the trope with the fuzzy trim with the lumps with the knots, sweepings, wire with the straw, with the paper, similar form material. Waste along with the fiber wool colored federal specification DD4116 will be used all permissible. Used the best quality was obtained with the commercial railroad. The waste will be goods resilient with the good palpatory, efficient transfer of oil with the journal. The just jute and any other fiber of thread will not be used. The preparation of the new packaging of the waste with the loosening with the early with the play and saturating valve with the kept the submerged of the new properly renovated car oil with the oil will be remained with the temperature not less than 72 degrees Fahrenheit with a period of at least 48 hours to ensure the saturation. Waste then drained with the remove the excess of the oil until the packaging is resilient and elastic condition. Care will be taken to the oil does not drip at the drain with the packing with the lifted with the drain rag with the oil should be flowing from the packing with the screw with the end of the hand proper ratio of 3.5 pints of oil for each pound of waste. Any process for the saturation will accomplish the same result, but will be maybe the prepared packaging will store with a term of at least 24 hours of the oil, 24 hours of oil, which will accumulate with the bottom of the container will be drawn off and poured over the top of the packaging. Preparation renovated packaging. The packaging removed from the journal with any purpose pulled into the container, avoid with the contact with the ground, any other place within which may pick up the grit and dirt with the will be taken with the waste. Reclamination point available. The packing will not be reused for until the renovated waste will be saturated with the renewed with renovated car oil. It must be resilient with the classic condition. It will contain excessive oil. Prepared renovated packaging and storage will be termed over at least once distributed to each 24 hours. The oil has accumulated bottom of the container were drawn off the poured over the top of the packaging. Proper ratio 1.5 pints of the oil for each of the pound of waste. D. Renovated car oil, which is removed from the journal packaging waste and put with the cleaning of the process which made the dirt and foreign material eliminated. 74. Preparation of journal box. The before pack with the journal box with the oil cellar, indicating the dust guard opening with the clean with thoroughly with the all dirt and scale with the scales and the grit and war with the new journal box with the apply with when the reapplying with the boxes. Interior box with including the dust guard opening with the clean with the above with the close fitting with the dust guard plug within box fit lids with the apply with the boxes will be inspected with the cracks which will permitted oil leakage. Journal bearing will be cleaned thoroughly with fitted with it into the journal sandpaper. The emery paper with the emery cloth will not be used with the journal and bearing of the fitting. When the box and bearing wedge of the journal are readily assembled with to make sure that the bearing has at least 2-inch crown bearing of the journal throughout with the length of the journal, but is free with the side of the journal as is not bearing with the will be refitted with the before finally applying with the bearing to the journal. The surface of the bearing will be given the coating of the car oil. The care will be exercised so that the surface of the journal is smooth, thoroughly clean before applying bearing. Never wipe the bearing surface off of the journal bearing whether with waste. 75. Method of packing journal. Back roll and pack and the packing of the journal box. The first back roll is inserted under the journal at the extreme rear of the box as shown in figure A110. The roll will well up against the journal in order to lubricate the proper fill it with the end of the journal. Will keep it out with the depth of the roll with 3 inches for the diameter, sufficient length with the diameter of the journal. Will allow the end of the 1 inch below the center line of the journal. Machine-made rolls will be not used. The rolls prepared with the hand with the box packer with the saturated packing will not be made in advance stored. Body packing. Applying with the body packing in front of the box will be wiped clean with a rag after not waste after the position packing with the preferable to 1 piece will be applied illustrating figure 110. Filling the firmly with the space of the B under the journal to prevent settling. Care will be taken to having the packaging bearing evenly along with the full length of the lower half of the journal packing. Is then placed across the full width of the mouth of the journal box. Strands allowed to hang outside of the more packaging with the placing the hanging strands of the inside of the box if it has an effect of binding all the packaging in one mass. Top packaging will be 1 inch below the center line of the journal after the body of the packaging is firmly from the back roll of the inner and back face of the journal. The edge finish of the front outer and end straight down with the inside of the face of the journal collar shown figure C 110. Online toward the front end of the box shown D figure 110. No loose ends of the threads will be protruded the side of the ends of the such ends being tucked carefully under the side of the packing, nor any will piece of the backing be laid along the side of the journal. Such pieces may be caught under bearing cause a hot box. Free oil will be added to any of the boxes that do not appear to contain sufficient oil after the boxes are packed. 76. Cleaning and applying bearings. Journal bearings are cleaned thoroughly with a board and broach and proper contour before being applied. There is necessary order to secure uniform bearing journal to remove the irregularities, detect the imperfection in line with. Do not use sandpaper, emery paper, emery cloth for the purpose of removing the irregularities. Bearing surface is necessary for the half of the round file with scrape that may be used. Journal bearings will be loose line with the section broken out with the spread over the side of the bore by the brass will be renewed. When applying replacing journal bearing with the coating with the car oil will be applied with the bearing surface. Never wipe with the bearing surface with the journal bearing well with waste. 77. Inspection care of the journals. Personal concern with the inspection of the journal box will be with the following regulation. Back of the box will be probed with the packing tool to determine the packing solution section. Figure 110 has been worked away with the fellow with the journal so that it will set up with the journal with the packing tool with the packaging section B. Figure 110 will be checked with everything down will set with the firm again for the journal packing tool. Show the 3-inch diameter, 1 inch from the top of the center of the journal, and then show the figure A, and then B and C and D. If packing section B is found with a glaze off the strip of the contact with the journal with the surface of the will be broken with the backing knife, it will loosen the front end of the working of the packing, give the bottom of the side of the journal to bring with the fresh surface against the sides against the journal, and care will be taken to see with the loose end of the tucked in. 3. Outer wedge of the portion of the packaging will remove the packing worked over the will be kept clean with the grease and with the culling compound found with the pinks with the packing. The packing will be removed from the box with the both repacked with the fresh packing. The packaging containing water box will be repacked and the journal will be inspected carefully with the center of the found dry with the indicator of the poor lubrication defective journal bag with the dry packaging with the bearing wedge of the will be removed and inspect renew and found defective the wear and bearings will renew with the account of the heating with a careful examination will be made with the journals before applying with the new bearings. 8. On all freight cars received the inspection origination points, all passenger original terminals of the car inspected with the box packer for the inspection of the journal boxes will be drawn to the point of the waist grab hook back and forth along the bottom of the edge of the both side of the bearing toward the journal waist which have been drawn at this point with the movement over the journal. At the same time, there will be noted that the lining of the bearing is broken, and if so, the renewals will be made to make sure that their bearing wedge is properly positioned. After inspection complete with no strand of the packaging left hanging on the outside of the box lid closely and tightly excluded dust. 10. At every stop of the maintenance personnel will check all journal within temperature of the box with the above the normal to indicate the slightly smoke with the addition. A hot box will be reported. The boxes are marked. Journal boxes, wedges are inspected carefully. 11. Care standing on the side track with the storage for the length of the time and they will not be placed in service until the box examine the journal bearings and judge in condition. B. When there is no inspectors, repairmen at the yard siding of the cars are taken into the trains or at points where cars are received with the other line with the trainman and so far as possible without the delaying of the train with seriously interfering with the other necessary to do with examining with the journal boxes. If necessary, condition of the packing, a little time with the attention while the journal box is cool with may avoid with a hot box, subsequent delay with the train without the car with the motion. Trainmen will be alert with the smoke with the characteristics smell with the burning rags and oil as their first indication of the hot box. Prolonged idleness of the cars equipped with the standing with the journal bearings with the result with the rusting of the pitting of the journal with the preventive step of the not take with the pitted. Journals will call the overheating the bearing with the failure during the movement of the oil will drain with the front of the part with the journal above the waist to leave with the metal exposed atmosphere entire bearing to lubricate with only with when the cars are in motion when the journals are revolved with continuously waste of oil in order to rusting of the bearings atmospheric exposure for the tank with the whole time of the oil rust preventive compound specified below. One of the following alternative procedures will be filed with the War Department of Railroad cars will be set in the motion for at least once each week with the journals examined, make sure the entire surface is coated with film oil with additional weekly movement in cars of the trucks move at a minimum of 100 feet once of each month. 2. With the non-possible remove of the car with the truck, the weight of the box, with the general remove of the entire surface of the general code. 3. With the rust preventive compound, with the U of the compound, rust preventive light product symbol CL. Short temporary periods of inactivity, metal surface protective, inspect with the over once every 2 weeks of the recode, with the necessary with the longer period with the inactive compound. Rust preventive heavy productive symbol CH will be used. The either compound will be wiped off thoroughly from the journal box, repacked with weights and oil before the cars are placed in service. Alright, 78. Brasses and wedges. When journal bearings are pulled with the box, the parts contained with it, inspect with it before repack of the bags. The brasses will be wiped clean with the rags, usually inspect with the hammer test the faulty loose lining, oil applied with the reinserting bearing in a hammer test of the suspending with the brass in one hand, with the plate balancing it on the back of the metal strip not over 2 inches wide, tamping on the corner with the hammer of the clear ring, indicate with the lining with a tight and double the dead sounds indicate the loose and cracked lining. All of the defective courses, effective brasses will be scraped. Wedges should be carefully gauged, and while standard gauge wedges will be checked, proper seat with the brass oil tops before and apply with the wedges did not gauge properly, which are cracked and distorted with a scrap. Wedge will be seated properly with the crown and bearing to prevent the pitching of the sliding of the bearing of the resting of the lugs. Section 10. Wheels and axles.